Now, in terms of a commercial announcement, I'd like to give one. Tonight at the El Macombo, after 9 o'clock, there are going to be bans against breed-specific legislation. So after your day in the warm sun defending the rights of humans and animals, please come down and party with us at the El Macombo. It's for a good cause. Talking about a good cause, my good cause is here. Her name is Victoria. She's a bull terrier. She meets the definition of a pit bull, the way the law is written. But you know, and I know, that Dalton McGuinty will never break down the door of the owner of Blue and take Blue from Don Cherry. But Dalton McGuinty will take a beagle out of a home of an older lady.
Yes.
Will take a dog that's a boxer mix called Rambo out of the backyard of a woman in Brampton. Dalton McGuinty will do that because Dalton McGuinty thinks he can get away with it. And we're going to say no. You can't get away with that.
Yes.
No search and seizure without a warrant. For anyone, animal or human.
Yes.
For anyone. The other thing we're here to say, and this starts way back. I remember sitting when the bill that gave sweeping powers to the OSPCA was passed. We brought in numerous amendments. We heard deputations against it across the province. All were ignored. All were ignored. This is the result. I didn't think that the term S, which is supposed to be for society, stood for security. I didn't think CA stood for cruelty to animals. And that's what it's come to stand for. I didn't think the P in OSPCA stood for policing. That's what it's come to stand for, and we have to say no. Absolutely no. Shameful.
Yes,
this is the organization that's supposed to be looking after our animals. The government has given it a mandate, and the government has given it your tax dollars. And yet the government says in Ontario that it refuses to have oversight. It refuses to have an inquiry, refuses to look at the actual running of the OSPCA, despite the deaths of over 100 animals in Newmarket. Every single death of those animals is a crime. It's a shame. This should not be happening with a society that is deemed to look after our animals. Absolutely not.
Yes, speak it.
And you heard Frank say it best. We need you. We need you to sign this petition. This calls for oversight. It calls for the government to do what the government should be doing. It calls for Rick Bartolucci to do what Rick Bartolucci should be doing, and that is to have oversight over the organization that has oversight over our animals. The fact that they say they don't is absolutely shameful. This is absolutely unacceptable. Is this a rogue agency, or is this an agency that acts and responds to the people, to our house, and to supposedly our government, or not? We've got to take OSPCA back. OSPCA should belong to Ontario. That's who it should belong to. That's what the name says. So I certainly urge all of you to please sign this petition. There is no reason for those animals to die. They died because they had ringworm. Think about it, my friends. Ringworm, a totally treatable disease, in a shelter that was supposed to be a shelter for them, was supposed to look after them, was supposed to care for them. And each one of those animals represents a family, perhaps some children, perhaps some seniors, all who now have lost a companion, a friend, a pet. For what? For a treatable disease. These were animals put into the supposed care of the agency that's supposed to look after them. So I ask of you, the one way of changing this law is to get in touch with your MPPs. Not me, not Frank. Get in touch with your MPPs and demand that they take oversight over this rogue agency. An agency who says one thing, that they care and love animals, and does another, euthanizes animals. So please don't leave without signing this, and don't leave tonight until you've gone to the El Macombo and danced with the bans against the BSL, because that's the other law that needs to be changed, my friends. You know, who here watched the Westminster Dog Show? Who here watches that? I do. I'm a big fan. Guess what champions were paraded around Madison Square Gardens? Staffordshire Staffordshire Bull Terriers. They're champions at Madison Square Gardens. Here they're illegal. Sandra Bullock's dog is a pet in the United States. Here it's illegal. Daddy, Cesar Millan's dog of choice, would be illegal in Ontario. Please, what's wrong with this picture? We have to change that. Do you know that according to the legislation, every Labrador, every Bull Terrier, every boxer cross falls under the jurisdiction of the breed-specific legislation. And if they wanted, the OSPCA could come and arrest and take your dog as a potentially dangerous dog, and you would have to fight to get it back, pay for its board and keep at an extraordinary and outrageous rate, and perhaps not get it back at all. That's how broad and sweeping this law is and how ridiculous. As I've said, the breed-specific legislation at Queen's Park describes every male politician at Queen's Park, except for having a long, skinny tail, which I don't know because they wear trousers. So that's how broad the legislation is. Let's change it, let's can it, and please, let's call for oversight of OSPCA. Thank you so much.